So what's going on in the Chinese movie theater business in the last several years is just beyond remarkable. And any business person would kill to be in an industry with the kind of growth that Chinese theaters are experiencing. Just a couple of statistics. Last 5 years, the number of people going to movie theaters in China has quadrupled. Last year was 1.3 billion movie tickets sold in China in the calendar year. That was up more than fourfold from 5 years earlier. What's also interesting is that the number of movie theaters in China is exploding to keep up with that growth. The number of movie theaters in China has tripled in the past 5 years. But match those statistics. Theaters have tripled. Number of people going to theaters has quadrupled. That means theaters are more full. That means theaters are more profitable. This is a great business to be in. And yet the opportunity ahead is so significant because 1.3 billion tickets were sold last year in China. Guess what? Right around 1.3 billion tickets were sold in the United States last year. Admittedly, it doubled the price in the United States, so the economics are still the US market is way out in front. But now the US and China are the two largest movie markets in the world for consumers. But think about this. They sold their 1.3 billion tickets and we sold our 1.3 billion tickets. The population in China is almost 4 times the population of the US, which means that there's a lot more opportunity ahead for China as the change in wealth that Dean Kai was talking about occurs. And another way you can see that, I mean, obviously, you know, Americans are watching 4 times the number of movies per capita per year in theaters than currently is the case in China. But China's trying to catch up. I told you about that growth in going to see films in China. Of those 1.3 billion tickets, that's up 52% in 1 year. It was 800 million in 2014, it was 1.26 billion in 2015. So the growth is staggering. But more ways you can see the opportunity. Not only are Americans watching films with an intensity of 4 to 1, which China will take advantage of. There are more than 30,000 movie theaters in the United States. There are about 6,000 movie theaters in China, even though it has more than 4 times the population. That would suggest, I bet somebody's going to build more theaters. And in fact, in 2015, there was a 20% growth in the number of movie theaters that opened in China in a single year, up 20%. So theaters up 20%, movie going up 40% or 50% in a year. These are quadrupling over 5. These are staggering numbers. And that is the future of China. AMC Entertainment, which is soon to become the largest movie theater chain in the world, is owned 75% by a Chinese company. It is, you might call it a Chinese-American joint venture, because we are traded on the New York Stock Exchange, and mostly US institutions and individuals own the 25% of our shares that trade publicly. But the Wanda Group owns 75% of AMC. And the Wanda Group has the largest successful chain of theaters in China, which I just talked about. The Wanda Group Wanda Studios is the largest, most successful maker of movies in China. And it's the Wanda Group that's investing billions of dollars to build the studio complex in Qingdao. That will be a place where movies in Asia are made when it opens, partially in 2016 and then fully in 2018. But that takes me to the next thought, which is film is not just important in China, but China's influence in film is growing on the world stage. And that's evidenced in part by what Wanda is doing. Wanda acquired 100% of the second largest movie theater chain in Australia. Wanda acquired 3/4 of AMC Entertainment. We are today the second largest US movie theater chain, second largest in the world. But in my second month on the job, I was able to announce a $1 billion acquisition of the fourth largest movie theater chain in the United States. And assuming the Justice Department says yes, and assuming their shareholders say yes when they vote, when these two companies are put together later in 2016, will be the largest in the world.